Today's episode is sponsored by our friends at Ian's Display Accessories, the best figure stands for vintage as well as modern action figures. Shipping nationwide, as well as our friends at TGC Customs. Hey, why don't you get the retro version 1 style weapons for your classified action figures? Shipping nationwide. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Codename New to Vero 2. Hi, I'm your presenter, Shabu Are You. Now this is going to be a basically unscripted chat because I've been wanting to do this video for the longest time, and I know it's not a proper video, but still it's worth talking about. I'm actually recovering from surgery, so I didn't have a full proper video planned out, but nonetheless I think this deserves a little quick chat concerning two things that any Gen Xer and any millennial will attest to that is significant in their growing up in their youth. One being video games and the other being comic books. But what happens when you combine the two? You get something that I think is not getting to the forefront, not getting the push, but it's kind of like a storm that's brewing. Any minute now, it's going to explode. And you kind of are starting to see it with certain books, with certain titles. And namely, one of them is the first appearance of Sonic, which came out in February of '92 in Archie. Now, we already have 2 Sonic movies that are out. And of course, that segues to the big one. Now, we just got the trailer of the much controversial Super Mario Brothers movie. So that begs the question, when is Mario's first appearance? Now, initially, a lot of people, like me, would think that it's this book. Now, there's a lot about this comic book that is so interesting and fascinating. The name Jim Shooter should be familiar, especially if you're a Marvel fan. I mean, Secret Wars, all those big crossovers. Also, people should know that Jim Shooter is a very controversial person, and he was either loved or hated by everybody. Well, after he was fired from Marvel, he actually went over and helped create Valiant. And one of the 2 big licenses that he acquired was wrestling and video games. So, but let's segue to what is actually the first appearance of Mario. That actually goes back to a 1983 Marvel blip issue. Now, Marvel, this is back in 1983. For any guys who don't remember that, that was actually the height of the video game craze that was in the early 80s. So Marvel had the foresight to produce a short-run miniseries of comic video game related offerings in a magazine type comic thing. And there was in issue 1, they had a kind of like a short little story about Mario. So that would be Mario's first comic book appearance. Now this is Mario's first ongoing proper series, first, of all the major characters in the iconic video game. And this book has been skyrocketing when I got it, it was under $100, but now it is well over that. But that's not the point. The point is that like many of us, we grew up with this character. And I picked this up because think about it. Whether it's 10, 20, 50 years from now, Mickey Mouse will always be popular. And if you go to any island or Jabip or whatever, they'll know who Super Mario is as well. Mickey Mouse and Super Mario are going to be the 2 characters that I think that are going to be recognized across the globe. So getting this issue is very, very important. And also, if it's not this, the second issue of this, because this was a short, I think 6 issues as well, run initially by Valiant. And it's pick them up if you find them. Now, when you do, be very careful because the paper quality of this is absolutely shit. It's terrible. And if you find one, it's usually ripped to shreds or torn apart. I am ecstatic with this 7.0. And believe me, PGX had to work their ass off to get this to this wonderful 7.0. This is a proud 7.0 because maybe because of the lighting, but it was a lot dirtier to get the white in the back to pop, to get Mario's colors to look red and vibrant the way they do. They had their work cut out for them. And on top of this, very, very cheap paper quality, because remember, Valiant was an upstart company. They weren't like Marvel or DC. They were starting, on the bottom of the totem pole. So they had to do things cheaply and efficiently as possible and cut corners everywhere they could. And paper quality was definitely one of those things. The other thing is there's also a Zelda #1. I was going to pick up issue #2, but I guess that deal fell through. But don't be shy to pick up those. Any of those, I think 8 were there of Zelda, but any of those initial run of Zelda, and also this is the one I love the most. This is Game Boy issue #2. Again, PGX did a fantastic job with the clean and press. This thing, a 9.4 for this book, issue #2, even though it's not issue #1, is still is amazing actually. I love the space shuttle. I live in Florida. I watch the shuttles from my backyard. So to have that Super Mario in this astronaut's helmet, I think this is a beautiful book. I love this book a lot. And wow. And again, to get a 9.4. Now, that's there's also like Uncharted came out. There's so many movies and other characters that are video game that are transferring into movies, to transferring into TV shows. So if you could find their I'm just sticking with Sonic and Mario because that's what I know. But you could see, even though I showcase video games, I go up to Xbox 360, PlayStation 2. After that, I don't go into modern gaming because little 5-year-old kids kick the shit out of me and I suck at it. But again, there's all these new adaptations, new characters. If you could find their first comic appearances and find the comic books that are related to them, those are advantageous. You're dealing with 2 markets now. You're dealing with the video game community and the comic book community, and that is just, it's harmonious between those 3 things. Big, small screen, comics, video games. They all kind of form a pyramid. And I think those are things to target. So when you're out there, keep an eye out on them. And if you can't get the first issue, look at the second or the third or fourth. Especially when it comes to this, the Nintendo Valiant series. Don't be shy. Those are really definitely important books to pick up. And you're going to be thanking me down the road because it's just like percolating. It's really getting there. And once it gets there, forget about it. You're going to kick yourself in the teeth for not picking these up when you could. So today in the background, we have the Dreamcast, a classic Soul Calibur. So I thought we're going to do that probably during our late night series. Anyway, that does it for this episode. Again, like and subscribe and stay tuned. We're going to do, again, issue number 296, which is the recap for G.I. Joe 296 is all done. I just have to upload it onto YouTube. And also, we're going to do a video about, if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, the Megatron Hiss Tank. So I just have to finish figuring out how to transform this stupid thing, and we'll be done with that video. So, Megatron commands you to subscribe to this channel. This is Shabu Are You. We'll see you next time.